creating AI is not expensive, but running AI is costly actually. Okay, that's the fact we need to understand. Okay, that's the reason why Zoho is. That's the reason why Zoho is competing with Salesforce, right? As we all know, Salesforce was catering to a value-based premium category. It's a CRM. Again, again Zoho. Previously, it was focusing on cost leadership. Now that particular boundary has been erased because of the AI agents. But who is going to be standing in the market? The one who designs it well. They are going to stand in the market. All right. So that's the reason. If I just look back in 2017 when Emagia was there, we had Gia as a chatbot. Now it has evolved to a agentic level. It's because of the design. It's not because of the speed of scale actually, right? So instead of focusing on speed of scale, it's very important that we bring in the design part into our agentic aspects. That's most important actually. And in order to do that, we need to have a proper service pitching. So I am taking the thought process from the aspect of a service provider. For example, sometime back, I created a SOD analysis wherein I need to give a kind of output, a kind of GBS redesign to the client saying that, okay, within P2P, I have so many FTEs, which are the tasks will be performed by whom? Same way in O2C as well as in R2R. So I have to do a kind of segregation of duty analysis, and I need to make sure that the right person is leading that particular each of those segment. The thing is, I took a lot of inputs from ChatGPT. It gave me a lot of SOD aspects. The thing is, end of the day, I chose what would be important for that particular area. In that context, what is most important? What is most trustable, right? Instead of taking everything. So that means the ownership lies on me, not on the ChatGPT. So that's the reason we are talking about human in loop actually. So, when it comes to autonomous, right? When it comes to autonomous agent, I really don't buy into that yet because as a finance person, I would not leave the agent to take the accountability because it's not going to take the accountability actually, right? So it was told before itself. Autonomous means automating with human intelligence. So somebody should be there for the oversight. Somebody should be the guiding light for that actually. So that's most important. So in this scale, so giving this thought, so now I'm getting into this transformation blueprint. So this transformation blueprint is, I'm going to talk from the perspective of a service provider actually. So when you take up a service provider, right, for example, Accenture is there, likewise similar companies are there, how they have been doing, providing the services so far, and now with the advent of agentic AI, how things are changing actually, how they are going to evolve in the future, right? So how to move from the current state to the future state. So that's what I'm going to talk. I'm going to make it very fast, okay? So this is the agenda. So I'm going to talk about what are the world-class KPIs are there, what are the service positioning models we are having, how we have to move from the classic service positioning to future-ready model actually. So if you see here, we have certain usual strategic metrics. So I will not go through this. All of you know about it. So with the advent of the agentic AI, we are talking about these additional matrices. This is what this is the first metric I'm really concerned about, right? Because whenever I pitch my services to my client, I'm going to pitch using a standard taxonomy. I'm going to say, out of these O2C tasks, so much of tasks, maybe 50% I can do the service for you, remaining can be retained, right? But my biggest worry is, as agentic AI has brought in a lot of knowledge work possible. So the most important thing is the percentage of tasks intake into SSE from overall O2C taxonomy, not from the retention perspective, right? Some of the things can be outsourced, some of them can be retained. That's how the industry was working before. Now the industry is moving towards, okay, I have 150 tasks in O2C. Out of that, irrespective of whether it was retained before or not, in the future, how many of those tasks I'm going to bring it to the SSE or to the GPS, right? So that's the first metric is all about. And the next metric is about the percentage of agent to human in loop actually. So that's very important thing actually, because somebody has to take accountability. That's how finance is built, right? So that's how IFRS has built finance. Unless IFRS is going to redesign their principles of accounting, I'm not going to say that, I'm not going to prioritize, first of all, the percentage of end-to-end autonomous flow. Rather, I'm going to say end-to-end flow wherein agentic AI is going to be a knowledge worker, it's going to be a knowledge guide to me, and I am going to take the decision. So that's the reason, in order to balance out both the things, I want to balance out agentic AI's capability as well as I want to balance out the human oversight. So that's the reason I have given the second one, percentage of agent to human in loop. That's the most important metric for any SSE which is trying to bring in agentic AI transformation actually. So previously this was the model, right? So it was a factory model. Everyone knows about what factory model is about, right? So it's basically transaction churning factory. Irrespective of how many clients are going to come in, how many countries are going to come in, continuously that factory will run on 24/7 without much of linkages between each of those segments within O2C itself. The problem with this model is, then whatever outputs are coming in, they will go to the country specific local finance, and the local finance will make some policy decisions, and based on that, the finalization will happen actually. Like finalization in terms of whether to honor this dispute, whether to give this write-off, whether to, apply the cash, right? So all of those decisions are going to happen. But the problem is, these policy decisions are taken because using certain kind of policies which are not really, updated actually, right? Which is not up to the needs of the business. So that means whatever wastes that are there in the bottom layer, again they will come back to the front layer system, leading to a lot of delays in the system actually, right? So this is the problem with factory model actually. So that's why if you look at the accounts receivable period close, out of so many reconciliations that we are doing, what percentage of the reconciliations are important or mandatory? What percentage of the reconciliations are actually because of some wastes or some problems that has occurred in the upstream process? Can we give a percentage? What percentage of reconciliations that I do in AR close? What percentage of them are actually need for that process? And what percentage are because of certain problems that has occurred in the upstream, and I'm correcting it, or I'm trying to detect it, or I'm trying to set it right. As a result, I'm doing the reconciliations. Any guesses? So, okay. So the statistics says nearly 50 to 60% of the reconciliations are the important ones, the ones that the business needs, and remaining 40% at least are basically due to the problem that is happening in the upstream and that are getting created again and again. Intermediate is basically, it's not a hybrid model. We cannot move from the current state to the target state immediately, right? So when I say target state, technology will vary. So that means I am going to take up a chatbot, I am going to put an AI assistant there. That doesn't mean my target operating model is changing. No, it is not changing. The technology has made it better. I have found a better option. As a result, my target operating model is refined. It has not changed. But I cannot move to the target state immediately. I have to move step by step. So this is the intermediate step I am talking about. So the intermediate step is, what I am trying to say is, when you are pitching your product, right, service, immediately the customer is saying, okay, take up my O2C, you do the service for me. So these are the layers they are bringing in. Now, we have not integrated them. We have just lifted and shifted the process. After lifting and shifting the process, I am bringing in AI agents into it. So that means I am automating the wastes. I am not addressing the wastes. I am automating the waste. That's the biggest problem. So that means the efficiency that you are gaining is not a value to the business. Rather, you are only doing a cost optimization exercise. There is a difference between cost optimization versus transformation. Transformation is not cost optimization. The byproduct of transformation is cost optimization. Positioning we are talking about, wherein we are actually trying to build an end-to-end workflow or layer, wherein the CMD engine, when I say engine, it is having so much of agents with the guidance of human control actually. So we have a CMD engine, we have an order management engine, which flows into the billing, which again flows into the collections, cash, applications, all that. But I didn't bring in the legal, all that. They are somewhere within these 4 boxes. That's what I'm trying to say, okay? So this is the future model. They are seamless in nature. They are seamlessly flowing through. And definitely there will be certain spillover. Definitely there will be some spillover because not everything can be integrated. There will be certain exceptions, right, which cannot be addressed. So we are taking that also. How to go to the future, I mean, first of all, how to create this future ready model actually. So definitely we need to create a current state and target operating model. That's very important. So good old thing is go for a value stream mapping. Everyone knows what a value stream mapping is all about. It's a Lean Six Sigma concept. So we can bring in the value stream mapping, do it, go with the current state, future state map, or we can use design thinking also to come out with the future state map actually. So there are some examples. So we need to bring in a lot of standardization and streamlining processes that needs to be introduced. We need to address the data gaps, process validation gaps, SOP gaps, policy gaps, all these things. The one more biggest problem with agentic AI is we need to define a policy. We are not very sure whatever policies that we are having right now with human intervention, I mean majorly human intervention, whether that can be applied directly, lifted and shifted to the agentic AI. I don't think it's possible actually. So we need to bring in a customized policy, not only from the process perspective, also from how the agentic AI is going to use the policies. Okay, what policies will govern them actually, that's very important. And we need to locate the unused APIs also. So if you take up finance worlds, there are unused applications also. I have seen in one of the organizations where they had black line, the entire black line was lying unused for so many years actually. And they had a big R2R system and they are operating in 165 plus countries actually. Such large organization is not using black line, right? So that means there are a lot of unused APIs. We might have existing RPAs. So for example, yesterday I was attending a seminar and UiPath was mentioning that they are very okay to, I mean, they have enough amount of endpoints to connect to the bots that are created in Blue Prism actually. So that's the level of collaboration the organizations are moving towards actually, okay? So we need to identify what are the existing RPAs. Why we are doing all this? Because we don't want to reinvent anything. Rather, we wanted to reuse them. Okay, so that's the reason we are looking for unused APIs and existing RPAs actually. And we need to create a multi-agent orchestration model to address the target operating model actually. So I will show you what a multi-agent orchestration model is all about. And we need to establish the data governance to address bias, harm, and risk. An example I can give here is, let's talk about very quickly, let's talk about false positive rate and false negative rate from the O2C parlance, okay? So when you take up a false positive rate, as an organization, I'll be very, very specific not to extend credit to an unworthy customer. But a false positive rate is probably, the customer is not worthy, but I am extending the credit. That's the false positive rate. As an organization, I really wanted to control it. But the problem is, most of the models are trying to control the false positive rate. They want to reduce it by moving their focus too much on false positive rate, they are forgetting false negative rate. If I forget false negative rate in O2C, that too specifically in credit extension, what will happen is, by not extending the credit at the right time, by not providing the credit enhancement at the right time, that's the biggest problem for me actually. So what will happen? That's a loss, unquantified business loss for me. That's a hidden cost of poor quality from a quality parlance. Okay, so be very, I mean, irrespective of whether we are technical, semi-technical, whatever it is, don't bring in technology in front of the process, rather try to balance it. That's what I'm trying to say. And continuously journey towards the multi-agent orchestration knowledge model by creating proper knowledge agents. When I say knowledge agents, basically a cash forecasting agent, or it could be a cash application agent, or it could be a credit enhancement agent. All of these are knowledge agents. So this is, so a human-centric target operating model may look like this, where we'll have a worker agent, we'll have a knowledge agent, and we'll again have a worker agent. This is specific to O2C I'm talking about. Probably all this work can be done by RPAs and worker agents. And this will be done by the knowledge agents, like predictive models, machine learning models, all these things will be coming under the knowledge agents, guided by the human. I will not leave the knowledge agents alone because of the lack of accountability there. So somebody has to take accountability. Definitely a human has to take accountability actually. So I will not have a credit agent, a credit extension agent to do the end-to-end aspect autonomously. Rather, I will put an agent under a aspect called as point of no return. There is something called as point of no return. A point of no return is something like wherein once you give the accountability to the agent will do it, but if the damage is done, it cannot be reversed. That means if I incorrectly extend the credit to the unworthy customer, the damage is done. It cannot be reversed. So definitely there, that is the point of no return. So definitely I will put a human over there. Or if any deductions has to take place, right? Or any write-offs have to take place, I will not leave the agent to do it fully. That's a big risk we are talking about. Okay, so for example, if you take up any big company, aerospace companies or defense companies, which might be dealing with billions of dollars, and if there is a dispute and if they are going to write off it, if the agent is going to take care of writing it off, out of the $1 billion, if 1% or 5% is being write off, what will happen actually? Incorrectly if it is written off. It's a big loss to the company actually. So definitely I will put a human oversight in the point of no return, specifically in knowledge workers, so knowledge agents. That means what I'm trying to say is I will put 100% human in the loop wherever it matters, specifically in knowledge agent. Worker agent, you can always do sampling actually, not a problem, right? How well the billing is done, how well the order is created, right? All these things are transactional. So definitely I can, or how well the email is sent, I can do a sample rather putting 100% there actually, right? So I will go step at a, one step at a time. It's just a, I mean, it's not an entirely prescriptive model, rather you can go, it's your own design actually. I'm giving an illustration here. So I will go for order management engine, which is getting integrated to billing management, and then slowly it will get integrated to CMD engine, then, right? And then seamlessly it will go here actually. So this is what a multi-agent orchestration is going to look like, right? So I'm going to have an orchestrator agent, which is going to be complemented by working agents, knowledge agents, as well as humans. And they in turn interact with the other orchestrators. So likewise, I'm going to have this type of multi-agent orchestrations. This is all possible actually. Right now, if you take up anything, even Emagia is possible, right? In UiPath is possible. It's in Automation Anywhere is possible. All this multi-agent orchestration is possible. And by using certain technologies like LangChain and LangGraph, they can go reverse. Like LangGraph, if you use, they can go back and they can just communicate actually. That means the orchestration can happen upstream and downstream, and from downstream to upstream. All of this can happen. So this is an illustration of a multi-agent orchestration for O2C. Definitely ERP knowledge, right set of SOPs. One example I can give is I was doing a lift and shift for a world's largest logistics company. They are operating in 165 countries in the world, but the biggest problem that I saw is they had 17 million US dollars of unapplied cash for US region. Okay, so we didn't bring in any tool. Just we went through the SOPs and we saw that the SOP is not calibrating with what the US team is having actually. So we did a calibration and we brought in a simple decision tree. And within a month, the unapplied cash moved from $16 million to $7 million, simple. So SOP hygiene is most important. Human-centric design thinking skill set, design is very important. Without design, anybody can do vibe coding, anybody can create a model, but that model, either it will lead to high maintenance cost, or it will lack accountability, or it will bring in a lot of harm and risk and bias into the system. So definitely we need to have a human-centric design thinking skill set. Prompt engineering skill set, definitely we need to have. O2C experts needs to learn. Data management and governance, lot has been talked on this subject previously, so I'm not going to talk about that. The middle management must shift from transaction mindset to human-centric O2C. The service providers right now are only thinking about, mostly are thinking about factory model. What is the productivity today? How many I churned out today? That thing should need to move towards how much of the segments of O2C I integrated. They must be accountable. Be strong in statistical sampling. One example I can provide is in one of the assignment, there was a quality assurance happening for cash application, but for unapplied cash, for the unapplied dump, no quality assurance was happening. So I'm not very sure whatever transaction that was sent as cannot be applied. Is it correct or not? I'm not sure about that. So due to that, how many millions of cash is lying unapplied, and how much it is impacting the business, right? So we need to have strong statistical sampling. Reloop learnings into SOPs and policies. Ownership on quality. CAPA, corrective actions and preventive actions. So we need to have skill set needs to escalate the right retraining needs to model developers. That's very important actually. If something has changed, for example, if GST some 10 years back came, so at that time GST wasn't there, VAT was there in India, then we changed to GST. Definitely at that time, if model was there, we need to immediately go back and retrain it. If we don't retrain, it's a problem, right? And even now, if AI models continue to be a black box, it's a problem. So definitely I would suggest that, just like, for example, if I am a human being who is doing credit extension analysis or credit risk management analysis, if I go to my boss is going to ask me a question, how did you arrive at this? He's going to ask the question. Same way, I need to ask that question to the same way the AI agent must tell me exactly how it arrived at the answer, and then based on that, I am going to take the decision whether that decision can be taken or not. So that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so thank you so much for the opportunity. So I try to focus on two things, technical as well as on non-technical aspect. Both are important. End of the day, business is more important than agentic AI, and agentic AI is a power engine which is going to push the business, not the other way. Okay, that's what we need to understand. Right? Thank you so much.